So finally getting to do the video around shipping. I'm going to do this in two parts. I'm going to do shipping as one and packaging as a second video, just so it doesn't become too big. But in terms of shipping, setting that up for your store, it's kind of easier in Bricklink than it is in Brickowl. So I'll just focus on Bricklink, and then you can kind of copy what you do over to a greater or lesser extent into Brickowl. So what you need to do is go to your store, and from there you will need to go to Edit Store, and then head into just the Shipping tab. And what you would normally do if you don't have any set up is add a shipping method. And there's a few things that you can do from here. You can create your own shipping methods, or you can copy shipping methods from other people. And kind of you can see from here there's all sorts of sites that have shared their shipping methods. Now whether or not you trust other people to have got this right and understand that whether or not you're going to get this right or wrong versus what you've paid for packaging materials and stamps or mailing and stuff like that is all a bit of a gamble. But if you're looking to get up and running pretty quickly, then this is one way to do it. And since I've started, none of these have really changed very much. And from my perspective, Fantechnic, which is there, I mean, really good store. Schmick Bricks, really good store. And what's the other ones here that I recognise? That's probably it from the ones that I've used in the past. Papa Bricks, I recognise them. But other than that, I haven't really drilled into an awful lot of these to really understand very much about what it is that you want to do. So if you were creating a new one, you'd go in and essentially, from an Australian point of view, everything you need to know is on the Australian Post website. And they detail it out here in terms of sizes, weights, and costs for that. And there's a whole downloadable price guide that you can get from that. And if you've got a My Business Post, you get some discounts and stuff like that. So you can pretty much calculate excuse me, you can pretty much calculate what you need from there, and it does take a bit of time, but everything you need, and I'll put the link to this in the description below the video. So let's just take a quick look at one of the mailing methods so that you can get an idea of what we're talking about. And let's just go with domestic letter, no tracking. So essentially you just set it up how you want. You call it what you need to call it at the top so that the buyer knows what it is. You can select a colour range here from it. They only have UPS, Deutsche Post, PostNL and Royal Mail, which I believe are all the same company anyway. You can put a little bit of a description here. I'll probably add to that, given that I often get a lot of bricks which are 2 centimeters high. Bricklink calculates the dimensions and the weight of the packaging to go with what you set these weight bands further down to be, but it doesn't allow for the thickness of your packaging. And whilst you get away with a couple of millimeters with Australia Post, it does mean that sometimes it's a little bit tight on the packaging. So I've adjusted my widths of the packaging to allow for that tolerance. And then you set it to automated so that it's really easy for the buyer. They just pay on checkout. It's all automatically calculated. Some buyers do have manual selected. That means that as a seller, you need to then send them an invoice, track that it's been paid, make sure the payment's been made. It makes your life more complicated. So automated is far simpler. You can publish and share that so other people can copy your mailing settings, or you could import some shared settings from other people. I always have required phone number for shipping. You don't always get it with these ones, but you do if you're doing Australia Post kind of app stuff. It's good to have. Then further down in the destination and base rates, this is where you can get quite detailed. So given that the domestic letter has a certain set of criteria, 0 to 100 grams is its lowest category. Technically, that is actually 0 to 125 grams, but I've taken a little bit out to allow for the packaging. So these have kind of been adjusted, and that in itself covers the cost of the postage and a little bit of an allowance for the packaging materials. Then I've got the second bracket, which again has been adjusted to allow for the packaging weight, and again an allowance for the packaging materials. And the third one, which is the top weight, which is 500 grams before it has to go into a parcel category in Australia Post, which gives us 3 levels of postage. And anyone that's followed the vlogs will know kind of I introduced that lower rate a few months ago, and it's become really, really popular. So it shows that those cheaper brackets are real popular and have proven to be a winner. And I have 2 mailing boxes that I use for this, a real small one and then a larger one, which pretty much fulfills that top bracket one, but often is that middle bracket as well when you've got a larger volume of bricks that are perhaps lighter but kind of tip you over the balance in terms of fitting into that smaller envelope. You can add discounts and things like that if you want to. There's things like a discount or a discount from the price order if you want, but generally, given that these are small orders, you wouldn't be offering a discount. I wouldn't have thought at this. Shipping and handling fees, you could add a discount here, but again, these are smaller orders, so I don't imagine you would do it. These are domestic letters, so adding tracking or insurance would be bumping up the price, so people would just be as easy to use a parcel option where you would get a tracking number by default, so that's all right. And then you can add a handling fee, and I have a $1.50 handling fee for orders under $20, and that's detailed in the shop terms, so nobody gets a bit of a shock at this point, and that's across the board. And it just kind of covers you for the time and effort for doing smaller orders. Restrictions, people have minimum buys or lot counts and things like that. I don't have those. And then this maximum dimensions is pretty much the Australia Post thing. So I have this down to 1.8 because the packaging adds 2 millimeters to the actual package, and the weight, maximum weight, is 500 grams. Now, what I've also done is added 10% weight adjustment here for the packaging as well. So that's the sticker, it's the tape that seals the box, it's the label, it's the stamps. Because Bricklink calculates the weight on the bricks alone, it doesn't allow for the packaging materials. So adding that 10%, and you could make that less. This is a recent addition, so I'm going to see how this goes. If it's too much, I'll reduce that down to 5, but I'm going to see how it goes over the next few weeks, see if it kind of works out to be a working methodology. So yeah, that's the domestic letter, how that's set up. In terms of an international parcel, let's have a look at that, because that is quite complicated. So international economy, this is where these it becomes quite difficult, because these zones are UPS zones, whereas they don't actually it's really complicated to figure them out. It took me an awful lot of time, and you need to set the zones that you're going to work to and stuff like that. So these prices are quite high. It's worked out quite well so far. It hasn't been far wrong in every case. So where have I shipped to? A couple of European ones, a Germany one, a Hungary one, several American ones, New Zealand, Singapore, Canada. So far, all of those have worked out okay. I did remove most of Eastern Europe and all of kind of the Caribbean and kind of the Middle East and stuff like that, just because it was just too hard to figure out which kind of zone they fell into. So that's how I've got that. Equally the same. Oh, I haven't got that weight margin added into that one, so let's just add that in. There's that 10%. You just save that, and that's how that's set up. So yeah, so I have these kind of set up, and there's quite a few. So I've got different settings for all of these. So you've got extra large, large, medium, small for express. I've got domestic letter, which is the small one, which has got 3 within it. I've got parcels, which is small, medium, large, and extra large. I've got domestic express letter, express parcel, international parcel economy, and international letter economy. And then I've got request and invoice, which I've got a note here, which really is about how this has no shipping cost, and it is worked out as we need to calculate manually. It's really for people that want to do pickup, but equally because the cost of packaging sets or international orders, or if someone was doing a lot of manuals or something like that, instruction manuals that is, it's really difficult to figure it out. So that's in there. It still has the minimum fee. I should really put the weight margin on that one as well, just to be safe, because who knows what goes on with that. Again, I had this set to just domestic recently, so I'm not sure what will happen on that front, but again, I'm going to see how that goes. If I start getting an awful lot of international requests and invoices, then I'm not gonna. I'll change that back to just domestic, because I don't want to be doing an awful lot of kind of having to calculate. The difference with Bricklink and Brickowl is that obviously Brickowl gives you a weight to work with, whereas Bricklink doesn't give you an estimated weight of the package. You've got to kind of guesstimate what you think it's going to fall within. So we'll see how that goes for the time being. And that's it. That's pretty much all you get. Excuse me again. And that's it. So you can set the countries that you ship within in here. I have a list of non-shipping countries that I don't ship to, and they're all the ones that I do ship to. I can't quite remember how you can set a bypass. I've never done that. I'm not going to worry about that. And this is where you type in your shipping policy, which I've kept quite plain and simple, to be fair. Yeah, that's it. Hopefully that's helpful. I'll perhaps do another one on how you set it up on Bricklink another time, but for the time being, that's how you set it up on Bricklink. If you like the video, please do subscribe, please do like, and feel free to leave any comments or questions below, and I'll see you in the next one.